Class 6 did a survey of mushrooms growing in a field. The diagram shows the distances of mushrooms from the centre of the field. How many mushrooms were more than 10 metres from the centre? So we have the centre marked here, and we know that the dots are mushrooms. So if we look at the line which shows 10 metres, we want to know how many were more than 10 metres from the centre. So we want the mushrooms on the outside of the circle. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 dots outside of 10 metres. So 14 mushrooms were more than 10 metres from the centre. Now, what fraction of the mushrooms were less than 10 metres from the centre? So here we need to work out how many dots we have inside the circle. So we can count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 7 less than 10 metres, and we know from the first part of our question that there are 14 dots, so 14 mushrooms outside the 10 metre circle. Now 7 plus 14 is 21. So there were 7 less than 10 metres and 21 altogether. So as a fraction, we have 7 over 21, because remember, the numerator is how many we have and the denominator is how many there are altogether. So our fraction is 7 over. Here is a quadrilateral on a square grid. The quadrilateral is translated so that point A moves to point B. Draw the quadrilateral in its new position. So a quadrilateral is just what we call any four-sided shape, and translated just means moved. So this shape has been moved so that point A is now at point B. So if we look at this corner here, we can see that to get from point A to this corner, we go 1 to the right and then 3 up. So we can dot the corner, we go 1 to the right and 3 up. So this corner will have moved here. Now to get to this corner, from the point that we've got, we can go 2 to the left and 1 up. So let's go 2 to the left and 1 up, and again we can dot our corner. And to get to this point, we go 2 down and 3 to the left. So let's go 2 down and 3 to the left and dot the corner. So now that we've dotted the corners of the shape, all we need to do is join them up, and we've translated our shape. So the shape looks exactly the same, but it's just been moved from point A to point B. A car usually costs £30,999. How much does it cost in the sale? So the sale means there's £1,000 off every car. So the price in the sale will be £1,000 less. So we can work out 30,999 minus 1,000. That's 29,999. So that's the price in pounds in the sale. We can do this mentally without needing to use column subtraction, because if we know that 30 minus 1 is 29, then we know that 30,999 minus 1,000 is 29,999. Because we're not subtracting any hundreds, tens or ones, the digits in our hundreds, tens and ones stay the same in our answer. Tick each of the cards that shows more than a half. First, we have 6/8. So we need to think 1/2 is the same as how many eighths? Well, we can find equivalent fractions using multiplication. 2 times 4 is 8, 1 times 4 is 4, and 6/8 is larger than 4/8, so that's more than 1/2. Now let's look at 70%.
A percentage is a fraction with a denominator of 100, and 1/2 is equal to 50% because that's equivalent to 50 hundredths. So 70% is more than 50%, so more than 1/2. Now 37% will be less than 1/2 because 37 is less than 50, so we don't want to tick 37%. Now we have 0.34. So as a decimal, 1/2 is 0.50 or 0.5. So 0.34 is less than 0.5, so less than 1/2. So we don't want to tick that either. Now 3/4. 1/2 is the same as 2/4, and 3/4 is more than that, so 3/4 is more than a half. Now 3/6. 1/2 is the same as 3/6, but we only want to tick cards if they show more than 1/2. So because 3/6 is the same as 1/2, we don't want to tick that. But we do want to tick 0.55 because that's greater than 0.5. Circle the numbers that are multiples of 4. So remember, a multiple of a number is in that number's times table, or we can divide by the number without getting a remainder. So 14 is not a multiple of 4 because that's not in the 4 times table. 24 is a multiple of 4 because 6 times 4 is 24. 34 is not a multiple, that's not in the 4 times table. We can circle 44 because 11 times 4 is 44. And now we have 54. We don't know our 4 times table past 48, but if we divide 54 by 4, we get a remainder. And if we get a remainder, that tells us that it's not a multiple, so we don't want to circle 54. Write all the multiples of 3 that are greater than 10 and smaller than 20. So a multiple of 3 is a number in the 3 times table. But we can't write 3, 6 or 9 because those numbers are smaller than 10. But we can write 12, 15 and 18 because they're multiples of 3, numbers in the 3 times table that are greater, so larger than 10 and smaller than 20. Match each fraction to its correct percentage equivalent. First, we have 2/5. Now we need to remember that percentages are fractions with a denominator of 100. So we can find an equivalent fraction for 2/5, which has a denominator of 100, and that will give us the percentage. To find equivalent fractions, we use multiplication, and 5 times 20 is 100, because 5 times 2 is 10, and then we need our end 0. So what we do to the denominator, we do to the numerator as well, and 2 times 20 is 40, so that means 2/5 is the same or equivalent to 40%. Now we have 2/50. Again, we can find an equivalent fraction with a denominator of 100. 50 times 2 is 100, 2 times 2 is 4, so 2/50 is the same as 4%. And now we have 500ths, so the numerator tells us the percentage because our denominator is already 100. So 500ths is the same as 5%. Calculate the perimeter of this square. So we need to remember that the perimeter of a shape is the total distance around the outside. Now we only have the length of one of our sides, but we know that it's a square, and in a square all sides are the same length. So if this length is 8 centimeters, then all of our other lengths will be 8 centimeters as well. So to find the perimeter, because we have 4 lengths of 8 centimetres, we have 32 centimetres. 8 plus 8 plus 8 plus 8 is 32. On the grid below, use a ruler to draw a pentagon that has 3 right angles. So a pentagon is a shape with 5 sides, and a right angle is like the corner of a piece of paper or the corner of this screen. So it's useful to draw the right angles first and then make sure that our shape has 5 sides. So there's one right angle, there's another right angle, we need 3 right angles, so we need one more right angle, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4 sides, and then if we connect these points, we have a 5-sided shape, so we have a pentagon, and we have 3 right angles, one here, and one here. This angle here is a reflex angle, and this angle here is an acute angle. Tick the months that have 31 days. So here's a poem to help us remember how many days there are in each month. 30 days has September, April, June and November. All the rest have 31, except for February. It's the one which only has 28 days clear and 29 in each leap year. So a leap year is every 4 years we have an extra day in February. So January is not mentioned in the poem, so that has 31 days. February, we know, usually has 28 days, but sometimes 29, so we don't want to tick February. March is not mentioned, so we can tick March. April, we know, has 30 days. May is not mentioned, so we can tick May. June is mentioned, 30 days, has September, April, June and November, so we don't want to tick June. We can tick July because that's not mentioned, and we can tick August. We don't want to tick September because that has 30 days. We can tick October. We don't want to tick November because that's another month with 30 days. And we can tick December because that's not mentioned in our poem.